Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Great to see so many of you here on such a glorious sunny day. My name is Keith Betton, and it's my honour to be the chair of HOS. This is going to be quite a big event, I think, and for those of you sitting down here, you might like to know there are a whole load, almost as many, upstairs. They seem to be having a lot of fun up there, so you might want to move up there later. In particular, I'd like to give a really warm welcome to any non-members today. We hope you'll enjoy what you see. HOS is quite big, but we don't mind getting a bit bigger, so I hope you'll just think about joining us, and indeed, if you do join us, you get your £5 back, which you paid earlier on. I think HOS is a really friendly organisation. I joined 35 years ago, and I contacted John Clark to find out how I could help, and immediately he said, "Oh, come and meet us in the pub." So, you know, it's definitely, HOS knows how to make people feel welcome. So a few essentials. In the event of a fire alarm, the HOS volunteers will direct you to the nearest exit. They're all wearing high-vis jackets. And if we do have to do that, then please congregate in the main car park adjacent to the sports playing field. If you haven't found them already, the nearest toilets are just out there by the reception area, in the just as you come into the auditorium. And if anybody needs medical assistance at any point, we do have one of the best hospital doctors in Hampshire, so just talk to one of the volunteers and we'll make sure we get you some attention. Now, the programme today is on the screen, starting, of course, with the AGM, followed by 2 sessions of talks with a 90-minute break for you to visit the exhibition halls, buy things, support charities, meet up with friends. Those of you who have been to this event before will know that it's very often at this point that I invite Chris Packham to say a few words, but Chris actually can't be here today, so he's actually recorded a video, which I'm just going to find, and I will then play it. Can't find it. Might need your help here, Simon. Was there? Is it that?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, that's it. Right, sorry about that. Okay. I'll just hand over to Chris Packham for a few words.
Hello, Chris Packham here, President.
No, that's
issuing an apology.
No. There's no picture. Before we have the AGM, we have the entertainment. It's got a little...
Let me reload it.
Okay. Whilst I'm doing this... Brilliant. Okay. So without further ado, let me hand over to your President, Chris
Hello,
Packham.
Chris Packham here, President, issuing an apology. I'm sorry I can't be with you today. I'm going to be candid, frank and honest and tell you the reason for that is that I've actually taken 3 months off. Not that I'm not doing anything. I've been working on some art projects, something that I've craved to do for years and years and years. And so I've had to be very strict. I know that you're in Winchester, just up the road, and I'm in a freezing cold industrial unit in Totton, and it's not that far away, but if I'd said yes to you, I'd have said yes to everyone. I wouldn't have made any sculptures at all, wouldn't have made any mess or all of the things that I'm trying to enjoy doing at the moment. You'll be pleased to know, of course, that some of the things that I'm sculpting, and I use the term generously, are birds. So I've just completed a goshawk. I'm about to start work on a peregrine falcon. I shouldn't imagine that you'll ever get to see these monstrosities that I'm making, but that will probably be the best thing. Anyway, and listen, enough of me, more of you. Fantastic things going on at the Society. Great lineup of speakers today. I'm sure you'll all have a fantastic time, entertained and informed, which will be great. Really good news that the youth aspect of the Society now is doing so brilliantly well. Keith Betton in particular, and others have put an enormous amount of energy into that, and it's something that we've always wanted to encourage, and it's made great progress, so that's fantastic. Fantastic. And as indeed the membership is up. So if we include family memberships now, we're looking at around 2,000 people, which is significant. So fantastic stuff happening. In the wider world, you know, I've got to say it, we're still in deep trouble. We're not making the progress broadly enough and as rapidly enough as we need to do. Increasingly, it's a time when we have to speak up and speak out for our wildlife. I'm sat here in the New Forest. It's not a utopian idyll. It's got a lot of problems, and a lot of those problems come down to its basic management. It could be a much better place for wildlife, and we have to find the means, peacefully, democratically, occasionally diplomatically, to speak out and affect these changes as rapidly as possible. We need to take, control into our own hands, and many of us do. Many of you do. You feed the birds. You work very hard for the surveys that take place, so we've got an understanding of their populations, distributions, etc. But look, the bottom line is, and I don't need to tell you, that we're still losing. Many of our species are continuing to decline. We've still got all sorts of problems. Raptor persecution, and that isn't limited to grouse moors. We've seen some insidious raptor persecution taking place in Dorset and Sussex recently, issues that haven't been properly addressed. So we've all got a lot more work to do, and we just need to get on with it. But at the core of that, we have to remember, what is it that motivates us to care and want to do that work? And that is that we share a deep passion for the natural world, and in particular for its bird life. And that's our fuel. It comes from the heart. And I think that's why it's such a powerful force. But we've got to use it in a more strategized, effective way. Otherwise, at some point in the future, I or another's job will be, to announce an extinction of a species from Hampshire. And that's going to be a desperately sad day for everyone. So look, as per, I have to ask you to redouble your efforts in the forthcoming year, and I hope to see you next year. I won't be in a freezing industrial unit in Totton sculpting, that's for sure. That short-lived career would have come to a blunt end, probably when I sever one of my limbs with the tools that I'm using. Anyway, let's move swiftly on. Enjoy the afternoon.
Thank you, Chris. Looking forward to seeing those sculptures. Hopefully he'll bring them next year. So, on with the AGM. This will be quite quick. As you probably know, I don't like AGMs very much. I'm joined on the stage by David Brooks, who's our secretary, and Andy Mitchellmore, our treasurer. Non-members are, of course, welcome to be here in the AGM, but please only vote in this if you are a member. So anyway, I declare the 44th AGM of Hampshire Ornithological Society open. I've had some apologies for absence. Chris Packham, of course. Tommy Saunders, who very sadly ended up in hospital yesterday having his appendix removed. Di Warner, Dave Palmer, Nicola Whitmarsh, who very sadly, her husband went down with COVID yesterday, so although she's okay, she's had to stay away. Joy Orbin, Peter Hutchins, and Martin Pitt. Is there anybody else that you know would want to give their apologies and would like you to do that on their behalf? No? Okay, thank you very much indeed. So the minutes of the 43rd AGM, held in this room on the 2nd of April last year, all been sent to you already in this little document which you've got. We've sent these to you in February. We hadn't had any corrections notified to us, so I'm going to assume that they are accurate. And I'll invite a proposer and seconder and then ask you to accept the minutes as an accurate record of the meeting. Now, please do shout out, because I know you can see me, but I can't always see you. So do shout out your name. So first of all, could I have a proposer for accepting the minutes as an accurate record? And I do know that's Carol Rawlings, our editor of Kingfisher. Thank you very much indeed. And a seconder, please. Yep, thank you very much indeed. Julianne Evans, I'm doing well here. Nobody's shouting out either. And now a show of hands, all in favour. Brilliant. Anyone against? No, thank you very much indeed. Now, you are able, if you wish, to raise any matters from that meeting last year, but there are also 2 other opportunities to ask questions. But would anybody like to raise an issue that was raised at last year's meeting, or are you happy for me to proceed? Okay, thank you. Right. So there is a report by me in this leaflet, which tells you really what we've been doing. But I'm going to give you an update from myself right now with a few things from this year too. So first of all, as you know, HOS is big, but it's getting bigger. 140 people joined HOS in 2022. That means we've actually recruited about 450 members in just the last 3 years. And that's about as many as we could fit into all of this hall. So it's a really great number. I actually think we all recognise that the nation as a whole has started to really grasp with nature, and birds are a very good way of doing that. And organisations are a very good way to get to see nature and understand it better. Now, we actually try and really welcome our new members. Anybody who joins, they get invited to come out with the committee and go birding. We give them a coffee beforehand. You know, something like 3/4 of the people who joined HOS in the last year have come on one of those walks. You know, you can go to a bird club and people will say, you know, nobody ever said hello to me. Well, nobody could ever say that in HOS because we really make an effort to make you welcome. We go to Keyhaven, you'll probably see about 70 speeches. It's a very simple way of saying thank you for joining. So everybody's welcome, and I think that's a really important thing. Anybody who was here last year would have heard me talk about this. I actually am passionate about removing barriers to entry. We want to be very clear that if you care about birds, then you're welcome in HOS. Chris very kindly mentioned our work to attract young members, and we started targeting young people with free membership 5 years ago, and particularly for those where they were the only person in their family who was interested in birds. You know, who wants to have a child having to go and get the parent to sign a cheque for £5 in order to get into HOS? Just make it free. £5 is a barrier. And the great thing is actually that many of them have joined, the families have anyway joined because they want to be part of it too. And I really am grateful to the Cameron Besbolka Trust, who from the very start sponsored this and continue to sponsor it now and enable us to help so many young children. Let me also embarrass them a little bit. How many young members have we got in the room? So if you're a young member of HOS, would you do me a favour and just stand up now? Come on. There's one there. There we are. Come on. There's a few here. Well, great to see you. Thank you very much indeed for coming. Yes, in fact, those of you who were here last year may remember this moment on the stage where we adults were replaced by 12 young members who talked about their ideal birding year. People are still talking about that session today. Maybe we'll do it again one year. So what does it mean for HOS? You know, it means a lot to us. One of our young members is Izzy Fry. At just 17, her birding CV is way more impressive than probably all of us in this hall. She's a bird ringer, a nature writer, a blogger, a wildlife photographer, and this year she published her own nature calendar. And last year, she was runner-up in the BBC Countryfile Young Countryside Championship. So you don't want to hear from me about this. Please welcome Izzy Fry.
Hi everyone, I'm Izzy Fry. I'm a 17-year-old aspiring wildlife conservationist living on the Wiltshire-Hampshire border, and I've been a HOS young member for about 2 years now. It's been really amazing being a young member of HOS. I've been out on lots of outings, for example, to see the peregrine ringing at the Sway Tower. And as I'm a trainee bird ringer, I got the opportunity to ring one of the peregrine chicks, which is just a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and really amazing. There have also been lots of other young member walks and Zooms, as well as other events and activities that we've been given the opportunity to get involved with. And being part of HOS Young Members has connected me to lots of other young local people with similar interests, as well as connecting me with brilliant people in the conservation field who can guide me in my future career. I just wanted to say a special big thank you to Keith and Janice, who have organised it all and put so much effort into the young members. Hos does such great work for young people, and I can't wait to see what we get up to in the next few years. And I would really encourage other bird clubs and societies to do more for young people like we do. Thank you.
And this photograph was taken just a few weeks ago when we ran an art masterclass for 7 of our young members. They're all budding artists. You can see some of their work actually in one of the exhibition areas. And we were so lucky that Rachel Hudson, an award-winning wildlife artist based here in Hampshire, gave up a morning to teach them on how to create 3-dimensional art. And that was actually what was produced on the day. They all just sat down and made this as a result of Rachel's work. So, if you know a young person interested in nature, up to 21 and still in education, please let us know. We will support their interest. Now, another thing I mentioned last year is that we developed a WhatsApp group that acts as a friendship forum for many of the female members in Hos. They call themselves the Ladybirders. I'm pretty sure if I'd have given them that name, I'd have been sacked. But they chose the name, important to know. Already we have about 70 of them signed up, and it's not just a chat group, it's a lot more than that. So again, rather than hear about it from me, let's hear from one of them. Claire Melville is an accomplished wildlife photographer and an ardent supporter of Hos since she joined. She was one of the first to join the Ladybird group, so please welcome to the stage Claire Melville.
Hi everyone, I'm Claire Melville and I joined the Ladies WhatsApp group in early 2022, not long after joining Hos. The group enables me to connect with other female birders in Hampshire, where we can chat and share our birding experiences and interests. It also enables us to arrange outings, as it is a great way of being supportive by making it easier for ladies going out in groups, and also for creating new friendships, as not everybody feels confident going out birding on their own. The ladies are so friendly and passionate for sharing their knowledge about birds and places to visit, which is helpful for so many, including myself, as I am a keen photographer, and now I would also call myself a keen birder. So thanks, Hos, for creating this ladies WhatsApp group. It's a fantastic group of ladies, and I'm so pleased to be part of it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Claire. Now, if this group is of interest to you and you're not already a member, on the screen there is a slide that you can take a photograph of now. It gives you Janice Beck's email address so you can write to her and ask to join. Right, surveys. We have surveys underway already. Many of you have been busy looking for marsh tits since February. Bit of a job finding a day when it's not raining, I can tell you. There are 7 squares left that still need surveying, so if you want to do that, come and talk to the Hos team in the exhibition. We also have a Dartford Warbler survey this year. That's doing really well as well. We've only got 1 square left, but having said that, please make sure you register your interest in that, because people do drop out, and there's a bit of a while before we get really started on that. This is a survey for which Hos was invited to bid by Forestry England, and we had to bid along other organisations and commercial companies, and I'm pleased to say we won that bid. And as a result, that's bringing us a fee of £8,000, which we can use for conservation and research. And the fact that we were chosen, I think, says a lot for the value of volunteers. You're a powerful force. It's citizen science at its best. And also, we love to support the BTO. The BTO are doing a woodcock survey this year. Talk to Glyn Evans in the exhibition as well about that. A great way to spend your summer evenings. And if you want to get involved with any of these, again, take a photo of this slide, because it gives you all the contacts of all the people in case you don't catch them today. But they're all actually in the exhibition. Now, we like to give grants. As you know, we allocate around £8,000 a year to support projects, and these are not shown in our 2022 accounts because they were actually approved this year. But Lizzie Gratian, who works for the Game and Wildlife Conservation Trust, we've given her £2,460 to survey Lapwings, she's doing a lot of work on lapwings and redshank. We've supported this in the past, and we will continue to do so, I'm sure, in the future. And £1,255 to Tara Dempsey, who's working on redstarts in the New Forest. And indeed, this is a photograph by her of one of the nests she's been surveying. And we're purchasing for her use a special camera with an endoscope so she can see inside and see how many chicks have hatched. And on a lower scale, we're also now supporting camera nest boxes for schools. This is a really nice idea. It's a new idea. This is the first one that we've gone with. And I'm really pleased to say that HOS members David and Sheila Yaldron, when David had his 80th birthday, rather than have presents, he asked people to give donations to HOS. And that brought in £450. And we're going to use that money to buy more nest boxes. So if you've got a big birthday coming up, or even a birthday, or anything else, bear us in mind. Or if indeed, personally, you'd like to sponsor a nest box for a school, they're about £70 each. They're camera nest boxes. If you'd like to do that for your local school, then just get in touch with me and let us know. And we're particularly keen to do this in inner cities because there's so little wildlife that people can see in their schools otherwise. Last year, we published this amazing book, Rare Birds of Hampshire. John Clark put this together, a fantastic piece of work. You're going to hear all about it in his talk later. Both John and Dan Powell, who designed it and illustrated it, are here. They'll both be signing copies, and at £35, it's a great value. So we've been really busy. I hope that you'll talk to me if you think there's something you can do to help HOS. You know, our bird surveys, the conservation work, the outings, the sales items, the young member programme, the Ladybirders group, the Kingfisher magazine, the bird report, the people who collect the money, the people who spend the money. You know, you don't see them, you probably see me, but I see them, so give them a round of applause. So does anyone have any questions about anything I've just raised in my report? You will have another opportunity for any other business later, but if there's anything I've been talking about that you want to raise an issue with, I'm looking around, I don't see any hands. Great, we're keeping to time, good. So in that case, what I will do is I will hand over to our Treasurer, Andy Mitchellmore, to give his report.
Good morning, everybody. The Society's independently examined accounts for the year ending 31st of December 2022 and my Treasurer's report are available on the HOS website. I will show the figures today in 3 slides. Please ask any questions you have about the accounts at any time. The accounts are produced on a receipts and payments basis, and a copy will be filed as required within 10 months of the year end with the Charity Commission. In summary, it's been a steady year for us financially. The Society's receipts totalled £47,835.51 and expenditure was £46,733.05, thereby giving an excess income over expenditure or profit of £1,102.46 for 2022. The first slide showing receipts. Here in the middle column, you can see the numbers for 2022 and compare them with the 21 figures on the right. Income from membership is still very healthy. The income tax refund from gift-aided membership increased. It's always nice to receive a tax rebate. Thank you to everyone who ticked the gift aid box on the application form. If you're a taxpayer and didn't tick the box and want us to claim gift aid from HMRC, please send an email to the Membership Secretary. Income from the Rare Birds of Hampshire book has been good, and I'm sure that we will more than break even in 2023. We only received income from one survey in 2022, and that was carried out in 2021. So this income stream was down compared with the previous year. There is no guarantee of further survey income in subsequent years. However, we are doing surveys this year, as Keith mentioned in his report. The Members' Day went ahead after 2 years of postponement, and the money we paid in advance in 2020 for the use of this school was carried forward for the 2022 event. The income from the Members' Day raffle, etc., was obviously a lot better than in 2021. I hope you've all bought your raffle tickets today, and if not, you'll have plenty of opportunities to do so. Any questions on the receipts at all, please? Good. Next slide is on the payments. We paid out 4,118 grants in 2022. We look forward to paying out more grant monies as soon as possible to new projects and projects that were slowed down by COVID. The payments sort of lag behind the actual grant applications a little bit. The costs associated with the Bird Report and the Kingfisher newsletter were higher. This year we now have an alternative, cheaper supplier for the newsletter, which is good news. Room hire expenses in 2022 were up as there were more face-to-face meetings compared with 2021, again, COVID. Trustee expenses in 2022 were approximately £200 higher than in 2021, mainly due to mileage increases due to more miles and the cost of petrol. The continued use of Zoom reduced travelling expenses to meetings and committees for committee members in 2022. The Society's finances, I believe, are still very satisfactory. Any questions on payments? Good. Lastly, the third slide shows us where the money is, or was on December 31st, 2022. If you add the £1,102.46 profit I mentioned earlier to the cash funds held at the end of 2021, we have total funds of £106,975.47 as at the end of 2022. We now have deposits with the Charity Bank, an ethical bank which supports the environment and conservation. The committee's policy remains to gradually reduce the funds held and allocate more money to grants and conservation work. The Society paid no sums by way of remuneration to committee members and trustees. I would like to give many thanks to Society member Joy Albin, our independent examiner and chartered accountant, who examined the accounts at no cost to the Society and also provided excellent support. Is Joy here at all? No, okay. Now I will be delighted to answer any questions on the accounts, or if you prefer, please ask me later during the break, if you can hear on me then. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to do the Treasurer's job for 6 years, and I'd like to thank everyone for their help, and I'll be handing over to David Brooks later. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. So there were no questions. So what I'd like to do is once again invite a proposer and seconder for the accounts. And again, if I can't see you, please shout. So could I have a proposer, please? Yeah, Andy Lester in the front row there. Thank you very much. And I heard someone shout. So a seconder? Ian Packer, thank you very much indeed. And again, please raise your hands, all in favour. And anyone against? Good, thank you very much. So, election of officers. A few years ago, we changed the rules so that the normal period for being chair was 5 years, and it was actually unlimited prior to that. That was a good idea, because it means you get turnover of people and ideas, and it also means that someone coming into the job knows what's expected of them. But if no immediate successor was standing in the wings, that person could continue being re-elected annually. And I have agreed, I've been chair for 6 years now, and I've agreed with the trustees that I will stay on for at least another year, and I'm happy to do that. So here are our proposals for the lineup of trustees and other officers coming in for the coming 12 months. First of all, I'd like to give my thanks to the departing trustees. That's Nicola Whitmarsh and Annette Clayson, who've both served 3 years. In her own right, Nicola is our sales officer, and I'm pleased to say she's happy to continue in that role. It's not a trustee position, she just does it anyway. Annette was our outings organiser for 3 years, and she regrets she's unable to continue. But again, the outings organiser is not a trustee position, but Annette just happened to be in both roles. Her place has already been taken by Di Warner. Tony Stapiliak agreed to be elected last year, but timing was really unfortunate. Just literally days after we put that proposal out online, the war in Ukraine starts, and he runs a major support organisation for Ukraine. There's no way he could continue in the way he'd want to. So he stood down during the summer. As Andy has mentioned, after 6 years as our treasurer, he's chosen to stand down, and I thank him for that. The good news is, as he mentioned, David Brooks, who is our secretary, has agreed to become our next treasurer. And that's particularly brilliant because David actually is an accountant. And I'll tell you what, he'll be a lot more comfortable as treasurer than he will be as secretary. Am I not right? But that meant we needed a new secretary. And I'm pleased to say that Dave Palmer agreed to take on the role. And in his work life, Dave effectively works as a company secretary. So again, a brilliant match of skills. And there's also change in the county recorder, and that's me. Since 2010, I've been doing that job, but I'm pleased to say that Martin Pitt, who's not here today, has agreed to take over with effect from this year. Back in 2010, we used to get 70,000 records. Now it's over 400,000. And there are about 1,500 people, probably more than that now, sending in records. And I want to express my thanks to everyone who has helped me, in particular Alan Cox, who I see sitting in the front there, who manages our records database. He eats Excel spreadsheets for breakfast and loves it. And also to Amy Robjohns, who is our assistant recorder. So we're lucky to have these trustees with lots of skills. The lineup is on the screen. I won't read them all out. It'll take too long, but they're all there. So new ordinary members being proposed for this year are Di Warner. As I said, she's already the outings organiser. Tommy Saunders, who I mentioned very sadly is having his appendix out right now. Best excuse for not going to the AGM ever, I think. Tommy is 19, and when he was 14, he told me that his ambition one day was to be the chair of HOS. But I'm pleased to say he's one step nearer to achieving that aim. Maybe I'll stay in the job until he's ready for it. So I'd like to invite a proposer and a seconder for the elected officers. So proposer, please. Yep. Name, please. Matt Coombe, thank you. And a seconder, please. Yep. Andrew Ward, yeah. Thank you very much indeed. And again, please raise your hands. All in favour? Any against? Thank you very much indeed. So that's the close of the formal business. It's also your chance, if you wish, to raise any questions under any other business. Entirely up to you, if there's anything anyone wants to raise. I don't see any hands. Brilliant. We're almost on time, a little bit behind.